Yo, shit. Hold on. I gotta do this first.
The dopest motherfucker alive. Whoa, I gotta be the dopest motherfucker alive. Whoa, good God, I'm so great. When I walk, the whole earth shakes. I'm like,
Oh, look, hey, get on your side, Lloyd. What's good, people? It's your boy Blunt here. Welcome back to Next Bus Please, the NBP live show. As promised from last week, we are going to continue with the corruption, air quotes, in the TWU Local 100. As you have my guest here, Lloyd Archer. I have Big Figgy. I have Haile Dabreo. We should have one more guest maybe coming in, but I'll leave that to if he shows up or not. So, without further ado, guys, Take it away. Take it away.
All right, who wants to go first?
Who wants to go first?
I'm just a spectator. You gentlemen take it away.
You're not no spectator.
Let's
Not after
go.
what I saw today. You ain't no spectator no more, bro.
Yeah, we can start off with that if you like, guys.
Yeah.
Just to wetting our whistles up.
All right.
And so, Figgy, you had a little thing going on today. You care to share with the rest of the world?
Yeah, well, as you know, since you're on the other side, my executive producer from my show, um, we've been airing out constantly about 19A inspections, 19A inspections, 19A inspections, so on and so forth. We've been airing it out for quite some months, probably close to a year. So finally, our depot was 19A today. They had a blitz this morning, June 1st.
Okay.
Now, what's funny is about that is that they've been doing these blitzes the last couple weeks in different depots. They did one at Gleason, they did one at Quill,
Fresh Pond.
Fresh Pond. They did one. They're doing it on a random thing now. Now, this is the piggyback off what Hal said not too long ago regarding that as well. And I've been voicing it before then. And the funny thing is, for my depot itself, for my depot itself, our last 19A inspection was about 6, 7 years ago.
Hmm.
6 to 7 years ago. And
Okay.
not to mention, they do it every year at LaGuardia. They did it last year and they did it this following year. And then they haven't even bothered with Eastchester, Yonkers, or Paisley Park. So my question is, and then they want to broadcast it on the TWU website,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw it, and I'm like, wait a minute, these guys are doing their due diligence now because it's contract negotiations. They want to look pretty, like they're doing their job. But what happened to the other times where no contract was expiring or the contract is expired and all that, and now they want to come out and do it now? So I made a comment.
Mm.
I
We're
made
gonna
a
we're
comment.
gonna hold on. Let's before you made a comment because they posted something on Facebook, right?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
So here it is. You guys can read it out loud if you want.
Says
But they
T.
posted this, right?
Says
And then
T.
you
Yeah,
again.
well, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, you got.
They said TW Local 100 continues to prioritize safe buses for our members and riders. All the crack of dawn At the crack of dawn today, Local 100 officers and safety reps were at out at all three divisions, TA Surface, Master, MTA bus to perform routine safety inspections. And blah blah blah, they say the members and all that stuff. So I saw that and
Mm-hmm.
I said now they want to do their due diligence and do what they got to do doing these 19 inspections.
Right.
So I'm
I'm
like,
going to post your comment right now.
all right. So that's the comment I made to them, which I didn't think they were gonna respond.
Wait, is this the right one? That's the same one. Hold on. Let me get that out the way. There you go. There you go.
So if you could read my comments, kind of small because I can't see nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of small. It is.
Cause I'm
Hold on.
blind.
I
I'm
got it on
blind.
my
So,
screen. It says, hold on, because I got it on my, I have it on my TV just for this reason. I had to put it on my TV.
Yeah.
It says, shaking my head. Now, when the pressure is on, they want to do their due diligence when this should have been done months, even years ago. Sorry for my slow reading, y'all.
Right.
Reading is fundamental.
So they answered me back, which they
Mm,
never really do. They never answer back, and I was surprised when I saw it. So when I read what they wrote, good afternoon. Uh, they TWU was it? The officers have been doing.
later. Mhm. The union has been conducting. Oh, I moved it out the way. Why did I do that? Yo,
It's all good, blood. Don't worry about it.
what,
'Cause I have it over here. It
you
says
have it?
it says good
Uh,
afternoon. The union has been conducting bus safety inspections for years. So I said, oh really?
yeah.
I said, all right. So what I did was I responded back to that comment, and I wrote as follows. I said, no one is saying that you haven't conducted bus safety inspections, but the inspection shouldn't be around contract and close to elections in quotation marks 2027. just to make it seem like you're doing something. It takes the members to put pressure on administration that it takes the members to put pressure on an administration that is in reality has been in office too long, and in my opinion is deceiving its members. I'm a 19-year veteran out of MTA Bus College Point Depot, and we have been forgotten for the last 21 years. And enough is enough with the smoke and mirrors. If this brings me a target on my back, so be it, because quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of just being sick and tired. That's what I said. And then next thing you know, I put that up, and all of a sudden, I go back to it, and it was
What's it
deleted.
going? Mm-hmm.
It's gone. Just like that.
Can I just chime in there? What's crazy, and they have this. When I was in office, this was done monthly. The safety department would go into depots once a month, right? And we would do 19 A's. All right. We didn't let anybody know we were coming. We would call the chairman and let him know, listen, out of respect, we're coming to check your buses. Some of them didn't like it, some of them didn't mind. There was an issue up at 126th Street. They started a fight with us. And at this time they had RTS. And again, they retrofitted the mirrors, they retrofitted the seats. So if we couldn't see down the side of the bus, we took the bus out of service, right? I don't know how many buses we took out of service for the mirror. You know, they didn't pay guys for the day, but they took the hit. Most of the operators took the hit because for once there was a union coming from, we was at 80 West End, coming down from 80 West End Avenue into the locations, and they know that we had their back. These guys, like you said, Figgy, it's contract time. I'm gonna make them think that we're doing something big. You ain't doing shit. You should have been doing this before contract time. This is something, as my brother that's sitting here, Dabreo is sitting here. He pointed out so many defects on these buses. They shouldn't even be on the road.
The thing was today, I'm pretty sure my depot today didn't make service because we had operators waiting by the crew, just waiting on buses to come back. They sent buses on the road that some of them had a fare box that had the wrong date and time on it. You know what I'm
And that's the next thing too. The fare box time with console time be mismatching, so you could get accused of running hot because fare box would have one time, your watch have another time, and console have another time. It's three different times that's not all aligned. Console gonna say you running hot, and their GPS is not aligned with the correct timing. All of these things is causing multiple problems, and like you said, you and your bro been saying this for how long? I remember when I first started, it was a whole different ballgame. When the division was coming down, that was my first time when I started, and I heard about the division. Like management, where I was at, they would be like, "Oh shoot, the division coming." And I was like, who's the division? What is that? I don't know what that is." And I figured out, later on, like this is what the division does, and this is what the deal. And I was like, "Oh, okay." They came in and made sure, but now you're not seeing that anymore, and you can't put that strictly on the membership and then leave the membership up for retaliation, because if management doesn't see the division is reinforcing 19A compliance like they're supposed to, then they're gonna be like, all right, well, he's the problem, and then that's a trickle down effect on the rest of the members, because now they're not gonna want to speak up and say, well, there's a problem going on with these buses. We need to point it out, put it on the OVCR card. Most people don't even fill out the OVCR card anymore because they scared they're gonna get retaliated against. They scared for speaking up and showing a problem. There's gonna be a problem with them. It's just a whole trickle down effect. And at the end of the day, it makes the whole fleet of the buses have major issues when they can be resolved from the jump, and we can get things fixed and make sure that the buses are roadworthy before it escalates and get out of control. And then you have major road calls and all of these other problems that are totally unnecessary if they just respect 19A as the way it's supposed to be. We doing our job, simply keeping the public safe, simply keeping ourselves safe and our license on point. And people have a problem with it. And you should never be a target for showing safety compliance. You should never be a target. if it's legitimate, and you got people out right now who became a target. He's been out what, like 4 months, 4 months for speaking out against buses with defects. Like they was at Flatbush Depot today. They got those buses from Staten Island. Um, I would like to know. I don't know for sure if they inspected the buses became before they came from Staten Island, because that's being proactive instead of reactive. And then they knew they came from Staten Island. How often was they going with 19A compliance? When I was always going to Flatbush and speaking to the operators, they were always complaining about the hybrid buses. The same thing Lloyd was talking about, the mirrors. You can't see down that line. And when you go to Zariga and you're getting trained, they tell you got to be able to see the bottom of the rear tire and all of the lights on your right side of the bus. You
Exactly.
know, I remember when I first started on the RTS, that saved my job because somebody went under my bus. And if I didn't have that mirror set up like that, I would have never saw that person go under the bus because they was walking and I was, doing my Stevie Wonder, left, right. And within the blink of an eye, he went right under the bus for a wallet. And I'm like, do I see legs under a bus? But if I didn't have the mirror set up according to how I was trained, then I would have lost that job. So you can't tell me to set up a mirror a certain way, but then don't provide the mirror for the ability to set it up that way. It doesn't. And then when I tell you, listen, the mirror is not. Oh, you don't want to do your job. You don't want to drive. No, the mirror is not setting up the way that I was trained. I can't do it. Oh, you trying to get out of doing your job? No, I'm not. I just want to save bus. So it just needs to be one cohesive unit. Every division, even down to RTO, however they do their safety compliance, it has to be the same way. And I know y'all era, y'all were trained and knew about the safety dispute resolution form. I didn't know about the safety dispute resolution form until last year when I became an officer. I never heard of it. Never. So no, most, I would say 99, maybe 98% of bus operators never heard of a safety dispute resolution form. Don't understand it, don't understand the power of it. And it's your protection on the road and on the street when you realize there's a safety defect that a supervisor or a manager does not want to acknowledge and want to try to force you to ignore it and endanger the public.
The whole thing of it is service. They want to make their service because that's how they get paid. They don't care whether the bus is falling apart or not. All right, but you got to people have to understand. 19A is a law. It's a law. It's a federal law. The buses have to be compliant to the 19A law. That's why we said we're doing 19A inspections. If you have a tire with a gash in it, if you have a mirror that's you can't see down the side of the bus, if any of the stanchions on the bus is loose, if the windows are dirty and you can't see out of it. Actually, I heard somebody talking about that before. They had a trick in the depot for somebody that's been being held out to clean the windows. If an operator went to the shack to get a bus and they went to the bus and said, "Look, these windows are dirty," they would call the guy that's doing the trick to clean the windows. They don't want to pay. They're holding people out. They don't want to pay them. These are good ways to act to use the people. I don't know who's running this show now, but it's ass backwards, and they know it's ass backwards, and they don't care.
Right.
You have an accident, that's your ass.
Yeah.
And even like with Fig, there's no way any depot should go that long without, you know, some backup from their division to come. Why would you at Casey, right?
No, college.
Big
College.
College Point, CP. So why would they y'all go that long without having someone come down there from y'all division and inspecting that's just totally you leaving them susceptible to all kinds of problems. And then if someone speaks out against it, you become a target. You're not supposed to go that long and not check in on your membership. Come down there, how's everything doing? Because and the membership sees this. The membership knows because as soon as it gets like November, December this year, January, February, the membership that have experience 5 years better, 7, 8 years or better, they know they're gonna start seeing people that are elected that want to be reelected. They know this because It's a habitual thing every 3 years, the year before election and the year of election, you're gonna see the people that are running because now they want your vote. And the membership knows this. You understand? And the membership sees what's been going on for a while now, that people in positions of power are targeting people to have them removed, to remove the opposition, and they're becoming aware of it. So it's just an unhealthy situation that is going on within the membership, that it needs a change of an environment with how it's being structured, and the ability to speak up. No leader would ever really want to silence the membership. You need to hear the membership because that's how you understand what's happening outside on the street. You can't do your job as a leader if you don't know what's affecting the workers. It just doesn't make sense. You're just gonna silence everybody so you have pretty much nothing to do. That's the only way you would silence people. You don't want to have anything to do. You need to know what's going on the street so you can take control, run your program the way it's supposed to be ran, and make sure members feel safe, the buses are safe, maintenance got they thing going, and it will all be a peaceful environment if everybody was allowed to speak up, say what's going on, and have a voice. Right now, the membership don't feel like they have a voice.
You know what's funny, how
Right.
and what's funny is that they see you and they tell you, "Oh, but you are the union, Fig.
Hmm.
You are the union." So if I'm speaking, why you want to put a target on my back? Why
Right.
you want why you want to put me out of service? Why you want to do this? Because I'm speaking the truth. That's your issue. Because I'm saying you was something you're supposed to be doing, you're not doing. And they say, "Oh, we don't watch your posts, or we don't watch your podcast, or we don't watch this." Yes, you do. Don't give me that bullshit because you fucking watch all the time. You
Or
watch all
they'll
the damn
send somebody to watch it for them and
Exactly.
report back.
You know what
we got
Figgy
we got
said? You know
schoolies.
what Figgy said?
Yeah, you know what Figgy said? Yeah, all this and all that stuff. And then I'm being reprimanded. Oh, why are you talking about this on air? Because we're going through contracts. But guess what, motherfucker? You haven't said shit about the contracts that expired. You haven't said a
Right.
damn word about it.
And that's
Let me.
that's the next thing. My fault, Blunt.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to make an observation here, right? Going back to what Haile you were saying about the guy. You saw the guy's legs under your bus. You know, um, if anybody who's watching when he said that, if you notice that he leaned forward when he said it, right? That's the training that he has, and that's actually probably what actually saved the guy. Because when even though you're looking in the mirror, if you don't lean, you
Forward.
don't get the full effect of the view.
Correct.
So I mean, I just noticed that when he did that, I'm like, yeah, he's definitely lean. He's definitely a leaner. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people they just look, and I said, no, you have to lean in both mirrors. Because I had a situation similar, but on my left side, when I looked out, I didn't see anything until I leaned, and then I saw the guy I was about to run over. And my heart was just like do 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 do
Hmm.
do do for like 20
Exactly.
minutes. But I'm like, shit, I almost killed this
Exactly.
guy. So I think that's just an important observation that people need to understand, especially if you're an operator. Don't just look in the mirror. You have to lean because there's still a blind spot that's not covered if you don't lean.
That's why they tell you to
It
work.
happened to me twice in one week, actually. One
Mm-hmm.
was on the RTS, one was on the hybrid. And that time it was at what's that, Gates and Malcolm X going towards Williamsburg. And like I said, the guy got off. He's walking. I'm not paying him no mind like that because I see him getting off. And I kept scanning. And then I'm like, wait a second, where this guy go? And I
Right.
looked, and that's when I saw. I just seen legs. So I,
Mm-hmm.
pop the brake, get out. And that's when I'm like, wait a second, what do you? He was like, my wallet. I'm like, you was willing
Sheesh,
to risk your life for a wallet?
right.
three
It's just
three days
ridiculous.
later, I get to decab now, same direction, going downtown, and I see my follower who's gonna end that decab and turn around. So I'm like, all right, let me wait for his passengers and pick the people up, being nice. So I kill the light, let them get on, and I see an old guy. He got a slight limp, and he's walking. I was like, all right, I'm not gonna leave him. I killed another light. And as I'm waiting, I'm still scanning because now I'm scanning even more when I'm in the stop, waiting because of what just happened. And he disappeared. And I'm like,
Mm.
what is going on? And I did the same thing, leaned, and he's under the bus. And I get out and he's like, he's still on the floor and sticks his hand out from under the bus, and he's like, my gold chain. I'm like, bro, I could have drove off and you could have got the chain after. Even if it's fake, more
Mm-hmm.
than likely it's still gonna be there. Like, what is wrong with you? What is it? He was like, no, it came from Africa. I was like, so it's priceless? He was like, yeah. I was like, so it's worth more than your
With
life?
your
He
life,
was like,
right?
well, not necessarily. I was like, yo, something is wrong with these people. So
Yeah.
that everything goes hand in hand. It's a trickle down effect. The
Mm-hmm.
leadership has to make the members feel safe. When the members feel safe, they can do their job productively, which will in turn allow management to be managers and get things done. And there will be less conflict resolution. It's a trickle down effect, and the job will flow much more smoother. But it starts at the top. You understand? You have to have leaders that are willing to allow the membership to have a voice and feel safe. There's no way somebody should have a problem, even if the leaders thought, a leader, even if you think someone's problem is not the way that they're making it out to be, you should at least hear them out and investigate it to make sure what they're saying is true. And then you
Right.
can say, you know what, I checked it out, X, Y, and Z. But to just silence someone because you just don't agree with them, it makes absolutely no sense, because that thing that they're speaking of could eventually develop into something bigger, a balloon effect, and then it blows up in the leadership space. So,
Mm-hmm.
and like he said, there's no reason why his depot should have went that long without people. That is crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
That
And
is
then
crazy.
for him to voice his opinion, and then they take it down means they took offense to what he said.
Hmm.
And this is why I don't call them leadership. I don't, because they don't lead by example. They don't lead when things are important. They back down and just do the go along and get along. But here's another question, right? Because a lot of the terminology you guys keep saying is putting a target on your back or retaliation. What, for people on the outside, what does that mean? What does that look like when you're talking about retaliation or having a target on your back? Especially for speaking up about truths that are happening.
Well,
Anybody.
well, from my experience, it what was happening was they were. I ain't gonna say no names, unless they
Right.
keep talking. Then I'm gonna have to just do this whole thing again. But they were telling people, yo, he just don't want to work. But people don't realize, if you don't do proper 19A inspections, you're gonna lose your job. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, or you're gonna hurt somebody,
Mm-hmm.
because it just. And I kept telling people that, reiterating that in their ear, you're gonna, if something happens as a result of you not properly conducting a 19A inspection and someone gets hurt, you're gonna get the short end of the stick. And that happened at Jackie Gleason Depot. Proby was in a situation where he made a relief on the street on a
Mm-hmm.
B-35, and the grab rail broke. So he didn't get to pre-trip the inside of the bus because he made a relief on the street with people on the bus. And the grab rail broke, and somebody hit their head. They didn't want ambulance or nothing. But management reviewed the cameras, and they ended up terminating this person. So it's like I said, he didn't get the chance to do it, but it's just a matter of the fact that it happened. You understand what I'm saying? They
Mm-hmm.
threw him under the bus.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So, and once you speak up about these things, they tell people, "Oh, this person just don't want to work. They just don't want to work." No, I'm doing my job. My job. The first thing you do after you report, and they say you're good to go, they inspect your uniform, whatever, and you go. The first thing you're supposed to do is a 19A pre-trip. That's the first thing you do as part of your job as a bus operator. So how is it that I don't want to do my job? My job is to make sure the bus is safe. So once they start telling people that, they put this seed in people's mind where it leaves a negative effect, and a negative impression on people, to make them think you don't want to do your job, when it's the total opposite. I am. And then it makes them subconsciously think, well, if I do the 19A, it's gonna look like I'm not doing my job. So I'm not gonna do the 19A. I'm gonna just go take the bus. There were times at Jackie Gleason Depot, I've seen buses, the rear compartments on the floor, where you walk on them and they're compromised and they're sinking in. And I
Mm-hmm.
would point it out to the dispatcher, and the dispatcher would get upset, blase blah. He would tell me, all right, take another bus. And when I go inspect that other, they make sure they give me a bus away from that bus. And then they send somebody to take the bus that I just made them aware of the defect, and they know that person is not going to do a 19A inspection, and they're going to take that same bus on the road. Some of these things are actually falling in, or there's times where the compartment floor is missing from the bus. It's out of control.
But
So once you do this and people are aware of it, management says there's a problem. And if there's people working with management in the union, then they team up together. And that's how you become a target. That's how you get retaliated against, because management is like, I need you to fix them for me. And they're like, all right, I got you, but you got to do me X, Y, and Z. And that makes the situation of representation become discretionary, which is a major problem. Representation should never be discretionary, because now it's like, well, management is like, you fix them for me, I'll let one of your peoples go when they have a big problem. So instead of enforcing the CBA and the disciplinary procedures manual, they utilize getting rid of the quote unquote problem for management to get favors done for them, for their so-called friends and colleagues. You become the sacrificial lamb.
And this is what makes the members believe, and it's been all throughout transit, that they're in bed with management for exactly the same reasons. You give me service before safety. That's the impression we get.
let me ask you active guys a question. Do your chairman of the depots at least give a shop gate once a month or once a week to address these issues? I guess that's the answer is a no. I'm going to say something.
Oh,
So, NTA surface now, let me see. There's no chairman that's worth a dime because you are the front line before the division when it comes to your people. It's just like car equipment. They may have, I forgot what they call the officer in car equipment. You should talk to the members in a group at least twice a month. Oh, this is coming down the pipe. Are they complaining about this? Please try to stop doing this. When you go out, do your 19A. But like you said, they are working with management. All right, talk to this guy. When the next guy come in, I'll give him a break. It don't work like that. It's not supposed to work like that. You're selling somebody out just to save a friend of yours. And more than likely, that guy that gets saved, that's one of your homeboys that you go out and you drink with on the weekends. That's not unionism.
the,
That's
la-
cronyism.
the last shop gate we had at my depot at College Point was when John Day was the VP of MTA Bus. And that was over 7, 8 years ago.
I
That's
got a comment here on Facebook. Guys on Facebook, right? If you want your comment showed, you got to come over to YouTube. But I have Celso, famous
I will,
Celso Garcia says they don't give discipline equally. Shop gates are give, but there is no real information given. So,
Can I take one of my statements back? There'll be maybe one depot that I know of that this guy holds the depot down. All right, maybe there's the young brother in Omer Park. All right, but as far as anybody else, they can come at me here or on Facebook. I know I forgot most of the shit that y'all should know and that are doing. I'm not saying they feared me, but I made sure that everybody was taken care of. It wasn't nobody, no one person that I look out for. Everybody, everything was even. It had to be an even shake.
yeah. Like for another example is, once I realized what they were doing, I wrote what they call a contemporaneous statement. That means that you wrote a statement immediately, like live and direct, right there and then. And I requested video evidence and console calls. Management failed to produce it. I kept requesting it. I got eventually got threatened by labor relations that if I keep asking for it, I'm gonna be terminated. And the union is in those emails witnessing labor relations tell me this. I also filed grievances requesting videotape evidence and console calls, and it never went to step three. The time period where every time when step one expired, I contacted G&D. G&D progressed it to step two. Step two expired. G&D progressed it to step three. And we all know who got approved to go to arbitration, and it was never approved to go to arbitration, and the evidence was never supplied. So if I didn't have the evidence that I had, that I decided to take upon myself to gather, I wouldn't have any proof of what I was saying. And because management is held to a quote unquote higher standard than you, sometimes people may take their statement to be more credible than you because that's just the way it is. It's like when you go to criminal court, the judge will say, well, this person took an oath to do this job. So they may hold more weight to them because they wear the badge. So your union is supposed to assist you in these things. You don't have access to camera footage and console calls. So once you make that statement in the G2, plus I filed a grievance, plus I was contacted labor relations for it. So why couldn't I get the videotape footage? Just once you that same person who I was talking about where the grab rail broke, they immediately produced the videotape footage. You understand? And they immediately terminated that person. So with me, once that happened, if you accuse me of intimidating supervisor, why wouldn't you have the videotape footage? You understand what I'm saying? It should be produced immediately because it's gonna. You wouldn't need to really hear any audio. Intimidation is mostly, based on what they said, it was like that would have been mostly body language, depending on the circumstances. Because you could have verbal intimidation, but there was no verbal intimidation. There was no physical intimidation. But based on the statement, she was accusing me of physical intimidation. So the video evidence would have shown it immediately. But by not producing it, it would have the statements is the only weights that could have been judged. And it's hard to go against that, being in the position that you are as a bus operator or just a simple employee who's right at the door. So, unfortunately they think that we're just simple, expendable people that just have a pass that they could just get rid of you and somebody else gets the next pass number and the next badge, and it's just a revolving door. It's becoming a revolving door job. Is there was more job security when I first started because and I seen like the ending of that era. So I could imagine during the previous era. I wish I was there and I wish I saw it. But these things are starting to come again because the membership is actually waking up. The membership sees what's going on. You can't pull the wool over their eyes anymore. Like people are fed up. People are really tired of it. People see what's going on, and you know when you eat honey with your hands get sticky, and
We're
people
gonna
are starting to see
we're gonna
that
see
honey.
we're gonna see how much they care when this contract comes through.
Oh
See how
yeah,
much they're really gonna care about it. See what bullshit they're gonna give us.
but that's how you got time to. You got now all of a sudden during contract because they weren't doing these 19A inspections when there was no contract negotiations. Now there's contract negotiations. We're not hearing anything about the contract negotiations. Now all these 19A inspections are coming up, and that's what's being posted online as the propaganda, the public relations optics. So these things should be done like you guys said, should be done consecutively, like religiously to protect the members. Shouldn't just be seasonal depending on what season it is. It's very disturbing. And then you got time to also bring up multiple charges on another officer during this time period when it's just like, well, what is going on here? It's total organized chaos. It seems starting to seem like it's by design. It's like organized chaos.
You
So
know what I call it? This is the gangster mentality of the union. They're gangsters, and they intimidate the members. But the members have to wake up and understand something. If it's more you than it is of those officers, and the guys got to learn how to stick together. When they come in that crew room, 10 of you guys need to give them hell. Don't let them breathe. Don't let them intimidate you. Ask them questions. Put their feet to the fire. This helps the other members that are afraid, that are intimidated to see this dude is a man just like me. And he don't have the answers that these guys are asking. What's up with that? That's a problem. Like I said, it's more active members than it is union officers. And everything that they're doing to you guys is done by design. Like they don't have shop gates to inform you. When you go to division meetings, what goes on at division meetings? Probably nothing. They probably last 15 minutes and they're over. Nobody puts those guys up on the dais. Every last one of them need to be able to answer the questions that you guys have. The complaints that you guys have here on this show, this should be taken to a division meeting ask the question of if the VP is there, he gets the biggest hit. Division chair runs the division. He gets his ass kicked too, until he can answer the question. That's I bet you is not happening. When I sat on the dais, 20 guys at one time would come at me, and sometimes I would be, well, damn, is it that bad? But sometimes it was a setup. That's the way it was set up. But the members again need to put their feet to the fire. And when this election turns around, what they need to be doing right now, because of the way they cheat, is go up there and make sure they have your correct address, you're in good standing, so they won't come up with this shit. Oh, this is the address. It goes to another address that you haven't lived to in 10 years. Okay, so these are things that they would never say this to you, because this is a way. This is how you can vote and get rid of them. That is my personal opinion. Anybody that's a bus operator, a train operator, or whatever job they have with the TA that's a union officer up there now, they need to go back to their tools, because they're quiet and they're complicit to what's going on. They're getting paid and they're not doing their job. It's like it's just like the federal government. You're paying tax and they're doing whatever they want to do with your money. Same shit.
Yeah, and it's having a it took a toll on the membership where people stayed silent for years because when you do go to the division meetings, it was really empty during the last election. It was empty at those elections.
I
I
just
mean,
had
at those division meetings. I'm like, when did it get like this? Because I was coming periodically before that, like a few meetings. But now it's bad. You understand? But now it's starting to pick back up. People are starting to get fed up. These last few meetings, it's been more and more people coming, which is good. Another thing that because people have been calling me and asking me, like, how come they looked at the proposals and it was like, how come those are the things that are being proposed? At the mass membership meeting, it was supposed to be spoken of and told because a lot of people didn't know and a lot of people still don't know. During that meeting, I believe it was in March, that's when you were supposed to come and you give your proposals to the division, and the division takes a tally and prioritizes it based on the amount that they were given and see, well, this is what the members want. This is one, two, three, four, X, Y, and Z. So they go down the list. Most people didn't know that. They're thinking and they're asking, how does leadership come up with what we want? How do they know what we want? So it has to be spoken to like a teacher to students in those situations because you have a lot of new people coming in. You have a lot of people that's been here but were never really participating because they didn't feel included. So you have to let them feel included. You have to teach the membership what general or what captain, what field marshal of the army wants their soldiers not informed. And information is what 60, 80%, 90% of the battle of the war. You can't go to war and not have information. You're gonna go in there blindsided and get destroyed. And a membership that lacks knowledge is what we're experiencing as to why the membership feel the way they feel, experiencing what they're experiencing, and just feel exhausted at the end of the day, and they don't want no parts of the union. And like I said, until now people are starting to get active again because people are getting frustrated and they're starting to see what's what and what's really happening.
That needs to happen.
We changed the whole concept of the show, but we got 20 minutes, Mr. Blunt. If you want to start talking about the topic at hand, if you wish, but this was so good that it was hard to stop.
And what is that? I thought we was going good.
The corruption.
We're still on that in a way. But I do have a
Oh,
question. When when it comes to the elected officials, how deep do you think that this goes? Is it everybody that's up there, or is it a certain individual or a certain clique of people that kind of do these things to others? Like, how deep do you think this uh,
my,
corruption? I got to put the air quotes in. Corruption goes.
my thing is, you running for a position within your division or the union or whatever, whether it be on the top four, whatever the case may be. You talk a good game when you're campaigning, whatever, whatever. You get in, then for some reason you drink the Kool Aid, and then you totally change.
Mm.
And that happens to a number of candidates that went in there now. A
Right.
number of candidates.
So
Yeah, I heard that happen to a lot of people also.
some people
They
drink the
s-
Kool-Aid before they even get in. You just don't know they
mhm.
drink it.
I mean,
You
what is
understand?
it? I mean, do they offer him some welcoming gifts? Here's your pension, or here's the money. Here's what you got to do is pay on the path, and we good. Come on, man.
It's out of control. From my experience, I'm it happened to me based on my own slate, which is the craziest. It was like if it seems like it's the biggest betrayal, one of the biggest betrayals I've ever experienced in my life because I got introduced to this from standing up for myself, ironically, and it goes back to what's going on now with this implementation of this new screening process. I got active with the
Mm.
union heavily by experiencing discrimination from it, and that's how I got introduced to people on that were on my slate um by,
So,
by JP. JP introduced me to them as a result of that, and they kept saying you should be involved, you should be involved, you should be more
he,
active with it because they seen that I was able to communicate to management and tell management and hold them accountable based on their own policies and their structure. So they was like, yeah, you should join. And I was told, yo, we're gonna teach you what we know, we're gonna teach you what we know, whatever you don't know, we're gonna teach you. And then once we got elected in, it was silence. It was crickets, no communication. I wasn't being released. Someone who wasn't elected was released over me. And it was all honky dory, you understand? And it just made no sense. It was totally Hmm?
I don't mean to cut you off, but in my experience, and don't take this wrong, they used you. They
mm,
used you because you were the guy that stood up to management, and they seen that they seen that you would not back down. The members watched you. They exposed you to the members to get elected, and then they got elected. Now they got what they want, so they don't release you, but they release somebody that was nowhere to be found. And
mm.
that person that they released, I don't even know what they're doing now. I don't even know who the person is that you're talking about. That's just the process with these guys.
Right. And it took a toll on the membership even more now because there's no second vice chair. We was always missing one position ever since someone went in from our division into the leadership position. Once that person left in January, we were always missing one person from the division. And if I'm not being released from the division and that one person is missing, that means we're running on a 66% level of representation in our division. How could the division feel protected and represented if you running on 66%? I'm not. If once I see my car get into 60%, 50%, I'm like, all right, I got to fill up my tank soon. I know I could run into a problem if I don't pay attention to it and rectify this problem. If you're running on 66%, you're running on a problem basis. Now you got to fix the division and you got to fix what's going on with the membership. And it's not fair to the members. You're lacking representation. Then you're releasing people who don't know what they're doing and they're not elected, so you're violating the constitution and bylaws that you're now trying to bring somebody up on. It's a total contradiction and hypocrisy. You're
Did they
bringing up
ever give you
someone
a reason? I don't mean to cut you off.
yeah.
I need to say, ask you this. Did they ever give you a reason why they didn't release you?
Yes, and I brought that person up on charges, and that's what I spoke about when I brought that person up on charges. The international, well, first the local rejected it because they said, um, someone, someone let me. I found out that they were going to reject my my charges based on the fact that I didn't put a wet signature on my charges. So
Mm.
I cured it. I cured the signature prior to them responding to me with saying they're going to reject it. And I emailed them saying this is not supposed to be a reason for you to drop the charges. And they still dropped it and they gave a bogus reason. They never provided a e-board count, a tally of the voting count so I know who voted where and what was voted. And then I appealed it to the international, and the international sent me back a letter saying they unanimously dropped the charges. And now I appealed it to the convention. So, and that's not until whatchamacallit, till next year. So it's a total contradiction. And I had to undeniable, what I have is proof that undeniably says why they wouldn't release me. And it had nothing to do with my character, my morals, my principalities. Nothing to do with that. They just simply didn't like me. I was at one point they even changed the locks on the office at Gleason twice so that I couldn't have access to speak with the members and help the members. And they pretty much,
Wow.
someone from the leadership told the members not to communicate with me, pretty much ostracize me from the depot. So it's no secret, you understand? And the proof was there. And yes, still they dropped the charges, but here it is. You're trying to bring a leader up on charges from the VP level for something that's nowhere. How could you say discrimination? The an attorney from the union said it cannot be discrimination because you have a right to freedom of speech. How is discrimination a right to freedom of speech? It makes absolutely no sense. And the union allowed it, but you focused on bringing up somebody on charges for for having a party outside of the depot, outside of TA property, and it had nothing to do with TWU or MTA. It's total contradiction. Discrimination in the union should be prioritized as something they want to get rid of, they want to expunge and do away with. Why would they allow it to go on? Why would someone from the leadership be discriminated against? That's total contradiction to what a union is. You can't be going to parties for Black History Month and African American Day, West Indian Day, all Italian Day, Irish Day. You can't be going for these things and then totally contradict yourself and discriminate against somebody, because that
Yeah.
means when you're there in that location, you're not genuinely there to be there to say,
To
yes, we
celebrate.
need to have unity. You're there just to be there to have the optics. And this is why I say most of these things are stage shows, because what union discriminates? It makes no sense and allows discrimination as well. If I never went public with it, it would have never been known. They were trying to silence my charges and never go through with it. I had to go out and make a video. And even after that, I stayed quiet because I was like, this union is, I didn't get involved with this to be discriminated against, to be ostracized. I got involved to represent the leaders. So I was just staying silent. Like I was done with these people because it was just, it didn't make sense. It was totally contradiction from what I thought a union was. But they keep messing with me. You see this guy talking about I call police, like I was gonna be scared to say yes. I did call police. Like, who was gonna be scared? You try to set me up. I'm not stupid. So it makes no sense, man. It makes no sense.
Yo,
To
Blunt.
that point, I had I had somebody message me, send me a message to tell me that I need to watch what I say. I told them they could go fuck themselves. I don't give a fuck who they are. I mean, I don't work for trans. What you gonna do? What you? You can't. You got nothing on me. And if we want to take it to the streets, I just stay silent on that one. But anyway, let's move on to this part, right? Because all right, we got the gist that there's a lot of corruption that's going on inside the local, which is mind-boggling to me. But what can we? What do you think, you guys, especially the active, you active guys? What do you think that the membership can do to alleviate this problem? I mean, besides the obvious of voting them out, but they have to vote to vote them out, right? But what else can members do in order to take care of this problem that we seem to have?
I mean, from my perspective, what you pointed out, voting, yes, but we have a problem with the voting problem because they control the voting process.
Mm.
That's a big problem. They
And one of
control.
the things that we always used to say, especially Brooklyn Pete and myself, was to, you know, at this point, before elections even start, you should be in your depot chairman's office and making sure that your address is correct, making
Absolutely.
sure that
Yes.
you get the right, because you'll get the paraphernalia but you won't get the right voting, you know what I mean,
The
which is
ballot, right?
crazy. Yeah, you won't get the
Right.
right ballot.
Right.
So it's like you have to go before these elections even even coming through, just to make sure everything's on the up and up, make sure your union dues is up, paid up in full, and make sure that your address and everything is correct. You can't wait till now to want to change things because everybody's running all over the place. Nobody really has time to be focused on your
Right.
action unless they assign somebody just for that, right?
Right.
Members need to go to meetings. One, get
Mm-hmm.
involved and speak up, man. Don't be scared. Speak up. It's your union, bro. Speak up. Like
But
I said,
also
That's
the members need to back up that person that's speaking up.
no, of
You
course,
know, because
that's a fact.
Absolutely.
mhm,
That's a
and
fact.
you gotta like one of the important things on what you guys talking about the ballots. Another thing is some people wait till the last minute to call AAA. You can't wait till that because that's another tactic. You'll call it within the week time frame, and they're like, all right, we're gonna send it out to you, and then you wait in 2 3 days, wait, and then you don't get it, and you call back, and now they're gonna send it to you, and by that time
it's already too late.
Over.
it's
Yeah.
too late. So once the election time is coming up, like you guys said, even from now, you make sure the address is correct, and then you know the election is coming up a month before, a week before. You keep reiterating, "Is my address correct? Is my address okay? Cool." Then once it comes out, you don't get your ballot in that first week. You got to make a phone call. You got to
Mm-hmm.
make a phone call and make sure you get your ballot after that first week.
Well,
Once that
Mm-hmm.
first, huh?
well, we should have 43,000 voting next election because according to the recording secretary from the mass membership, he said everybody's at 100% from
Right.
a division
Mm-hmm.
In good standing.
in good
Mm-hmm.
standing. So we should have a high voting turnout come next election.
Yeah, that was interesting. I heard that.
And,
That was
let me just real quick. The members need when that ballot comes. Don't leave it on the kitchen table. Don't leave it stuck to the refrigerator. Don't leave it at that little stand you got at the door where you put your keys. As soon as you get it, open it, check whoever you're gonna, and put it in the mailbox. Don't leave it laying around. And
yeah.
stop with this mentality. It's not gonna make a difference. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It took us 15 years to win an election in 2001 with new direction. The members had to get screwed hard enough for them to say, okay, enough is enough. And I believe this contract is going to be the tipping point for the membership. They have to they have to step up like y'all said, make sure they got the address, make sure your dues are paid, so forth and so on. So when the ballots come out, you guys can vote and send them right back in.
Let
And
me let me let me add to that real quick because I just want members to understand this. When you doing stuff like Dabreo, like Figgy, they do become a target, right? But one of the best things that you could do to avoid that is to make sure when you get to work, you're doing everything by the book.
There you go.
Everything. Cross your T's, dot your I's, because
Uniform,
we,
everything.
we had we had a guy at Gleason. I don't know if you noticed, Braille. We had a guy we used to call him late slip Eddie, right? Late slip Eddie, and they call him that because he drove his bus 15 miles per hour
That's the rule.
every single day, and he used to get the slips, the late slips, every day. And he make about 60, 70,000 off of late slips alone, and they didn't like that. They used to ride his bus almost every day looking to
mhm,
catch him.
yeah,
And you know what? Never caught him because he
because he
did
followed the
everything,
rules. Yeah.
everything by the book. And they were so mad at him. And he was the happiest guy in the depot. Every
Yeah.
time you saw him, hey guys, how you doing? He was getting paid, and they
Yeah.
couldn't touch him. So let me just reiterate that when you start doing things like Haile Dabreo, Figgy, Tramel, and they have a target on their back. And the only way I mean, there's other ways, but the best ways you could counter that is by doing everything by the book. All right, Gad, I'm sorry to cut you off, Braille.
No, it's education, and that's one of the things about education is knowing the rules because the policies. That's what a lot of the members don't realize. The policies like 19A, like what we were talking about earlier, and every other policy there is actually there to protect you and the public. It's not there to protect the job. It's there to protect you and keep your job. So once you know those rules and policies, it's almost impossible to do something to you. So your best option is to get familiar with it, educate yourself, learn, and that's why I said it starts at the top. The top have to educate. I have ideas for division meetings on how to do things to make members more aware, so people become more knowledgeable, and you can actually make the members be prepared to defend themselves out there, because members feel like there's no one there to represent them in a live situation. So they don't even feel that. They don't, and they also don't feel like they got no representation when they go to arbitration. It's really bad, And I tell them, no, the division is there because they're supposed to know those rules and regulations, but you also should take it upon yourself to learn those rules and regulations. Don't spend your time always on your phone, Twitter fingers, and scrolling through IG and TikTok. No, you need to dedicate 15 to 30 minutes a day and read a bulletin. Now you don't even have access to the bulletins. These things used to be out. That blue book, exactly.
I'm
That blue
10
book.
years out and I still have mines.
The customer service book. I got every single one of them. I also
The
got the
Constitution, yeah.
exactly. I got the FMSCA book. So anytime I pull out, it's a small little green book, and here you go. This says, according to federal law, it says X, Y, and Z. So you can't expect me to do opposite of what the law says because you want me to make service. It just doesn't work that way. So the most important thing for the membership is education. Educate yourself, and that's what you guys' platform is about. And that's what TWUR has been doing, been educating people about what's been going on. And that's what my platform is about. It's about making sure people know what is happening and educating people so that you can become aware. Because a real leader raises leaders. A real leader doesn't want people to be less than them. A real leader want to raise leaders so that when it's their time to go, someone else greater than them can take their place. That's what real leadership is about.
All right, and that's a good segue to end the show. I appreciate that, brother. So listen, I'll give you guys last minutes. Everybody, you can show. Let them know. Everybody here has platforms, so let them know where they can find. Let's start with you, Haley. Go ahead.
Oh, mine is transparent accountability on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. All you gotta do is type it on TikTok. I believe it's a little short. It might be transparent account, but it's transparent accountability. And it's basically what I just said. It's education. You might find a little humorous, and I try to bring information that is very difficult to get. Like today, I was talking about the rats inside of the swabs, which is crazy. So I just try to bring information that is hard to get that people can use, and they'll become more informed about their job and their job description, and also build great public relations with the public to ease up the tension that MTA is supposed to be doing for us.
Okay, cool. Figgy.
I'm one half of Operators on the Loose, and
And where's that at?
it's on YouTube and Facebook, mostly YouTube. Um, my other half is already probably sleeping somewhere, probably
Right.
angry somewhere doing something. Shout out to my brother ABM,
All right.
and
Okay.
that's basically it.
Yeah. And, okay. So Lloyd,
Okay,
president.
most of you guys probably already know who I am. I am the drafted president of TW100R. We are a bunch of retirees that got screwed in the 2023 contract. You can see us on on Facebook. Uh, Facebook, we're on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on WhatsApp. All over the place. Please get involved with that. You can go to our website www.tw100r.org, and you can see some videos and testimonies of people that's having problems with this medical. And you active members, is coming to you very soon. So please get involved. Everybody have a nice day. Thanks again, Bun.
Yeah, peace
Listen,
and
guys,
blessings,
I
man.
appreciate. Yes, listen, don't go nowhere. I'm end the show. Stay right here. Don't go nowhere. All right. Everybody else, listen. I appreciate you, Wash. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here, and I appreciate you. So, let me set it up. Jesus, where we at? Yeah. So, fuck them if they can't take a joke.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. go.